Bill Guerin built the roster. John Hynes built the penalty kill. And future Wild forward Jack Hughes sealed it for Team USA as they beat Canada 2-1. We've got a lot to discuss as the Wild had their fingerprints all over the gold medal run. Hey, Siri, play Freebird.
Hey, this is Matt Boldy, and you're listening to Locked On Wild.
Hey, this is Marcus Foligno, and you're listening to Locked On Wild.
You're Locked On Wild, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm Seth Toupal. Welcome to Locked On Wild, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and the number one sports podcast network. Locked On Wild is your gold medal winning daily Minnesota Wild podcast. We are your team every day, and we thank you for making Locked On Wild your first listen every day as well. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episodes throughout the week. We've got you covered every Monday through Friday as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. For the first time since 1980, Team USA is gold medal winners. And not only the men, but the women won too. So a clean sweep by Team USA hockey. Who's got it better than us? Who's got it better than the Minnesota Wild? And what a game it was. Both sides, just a heavyweight bout. The men's and women's gold medal games with a lot of parallels. Low scoring, very tight, but not without action. You know, so many times you see that you see a 1-0 game or a 1-1, 2-1 game, and those that aren't super dialed in maybe assume, kind of a boring game. A high event and just crazy saves on both ends. I think the two players that stand out right off the bat are both goalies. Connor Hellebuyck with what will go down as one of the great performances of all time. It has to. It has to go down as one of the great performances by a goaltender in the history of the sport. On the highest stage, Bill Guerin's goalie, Connor Hellebuyck, was not to be denied. And the one goal that was given up was, in these moments, you expect the best players to make the best plays. That shot by Cale Makar was absurd. And that's what it takes to beat an all-world goalie, is that type of blistering shot from an absolute fractional chance of scoring. And Makar able to best. But Matt Boldy gets the scoring started with the first goal of the game on a feed from who else? Quinn Hughes and also Austin Matthews. Gets the scoring started. And Jack Hughes ends it after getting his teeth knocked out. How about that for a little poetic justice? After getting his teeth knocked out, he scores the game-winning goal. And it is pretty much exactly how I expected it would have to play out for Team USA. We knew going into the Olympics that when you stacked these two teams up, the Team Canada had more firepower offensively. It wouldn't matter who Team USA had on their roster. When you have Connor McDavid, Nathan MacKinnon, when you have Macklin Celebrini outshine both of them, you got Sam Reinhart up and down the lineup. Team Canada just had more firepower. The only team that I think would have been able to offer more was the team that was not playing, that being Russia. But most firepower in the Olympics by far. So what it was going to take was strong goaltending and one of the most tenacious 5-on-3 penalty kills you will ever see. And guess who is the architect of that penalty kill, by the way? Minnesota Wild head coach John Hynes. 18 for 18 in the Olympics on the penalty kill. And enough scoring. And it's not to say that Team USA did not have firepower themselves, but imagine being able to hold Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Macklin Celebrini. Imagine being able to hold them off the board in a 5-on-3, let alone on the power play. Just some unreal will and tenacity by the Team USA roster. The reasons that Bill Guerin did what he did are clear. Vincent Trocheck played a pivotal role in, especially on the defensive side of the ice, in keeping Team Canada off the board. Huge role on the penalty kill. That's why he was brought on. And you get enough to beat Jordan Binnington, who I will never understand. I will never understand the Jordan Binnington experience, because you have just this crazy performance in a game like this. He gets up for the biggest games, and I have no idea. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Team USA got the win. And for all the questions that would have come had Team USA not sealed the deal, now those questions are irrelevant, because it's a gold medal win for Team USA. And how about the overall experience viewing it this morning? Getting up at 7, watching the game. How many different bars were open in Minnesota? I know Tom Reed's had a party. All the different bars that were open early, slinging drinks early for the crowd. All the people that were tuned in, all the people from other sports, other walks of life that were dialed in watching the gold medal game in the early morning, and all of the celebration that followed. That's why hockey's the best. That is why hockey, when it comes down to it, is just unparalleled. These moments, what it means to these countries. You saw the devastation from Team Canada after losing the game. That's how close the margins are. You go from tying the game up and looking like you're going to be able to take the lead, to then going to overtime and having it absolutely ripped away. And I can't imagine what it's like to be Connor McDavid, who has been in so many big situations and has come up just short so many times. Stanley Cup Finals, Olympics, just short. But the main thing to take away from the action today is that not only did Bill Guerin put the gold medal winning roster together, but the amount of impact that the Wild contingent had on this run. It's not as though they were players filling out the roster. You're not talking 13th, 14th forward or 8th defenseman. Quinn Hughes, Matt Boldy, and Brock Faber were everywhere all throughout the tournament in the lead up to this game, in the lead up to securing the gold medal. They had their fingerprints on all of it. But I want to talk about, I think, the undersung part of this run and this win was the assistant coach that was handling the special teams duties. Let's talk about John flippin' Hynes for a second. The architect of the PK that found a way to get it done against Team Canada. We'll talk about the massive impact that the Minnesota Wild contingent had on this run to the Olympics as we continue. Team USA, gold medal winners. No Canada. More Locked On Wild is coming up after this. Today's episode of Locked On Wild is brought to you by FanDuel. Have you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience. It is the perfect time of year, whether you are picking a team to win the championship or those important conference titles. It adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. Visit FanDuel.com to get started and use your profit boost on an NBA future to get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to today's special gold medal edition of Locked On Wild, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And, it just, I find myself struggling for words to describe what we just had unfold. Because it had been 1980 was the last time that Team USA had hoisted the gold medal. And it just is something that, took this type of play. Comments after the games I've already seen from Team Canada's contingent that said, you be the judge as to who was the better team here today. Well, yeah, we knew Team Canada had the firepower, as we talked about. Nathan MacKinnon, you be the judge of who was the better team today. Yeah, well, that's why you play him. And that's why Bill Guerin went with a little more of the sandpaper than the firepower. They certainly had plenty of it, but it was going to take a little bit of will to win this one here today. And that's exactly what Team USA did. Now, as far as impact goes, you can start right at the top with Matt Boldy, who had a couple of goals throughout the Olympics, but he started the scoring in this game against Team Canada and was one of the most notable players on the entire roster for Team USA. One of the most notable and active players throughout the entirety of the tournament. Routinely, Matt Boldy played on the top line for Team USA. And in overtime, was one of the first out on the ice, was one of the forwards out on the ice with Quinn Hughes for the start of OT. That's not by accident. That's not because Bill Guerin was the GM and he just wanted his guys on the roster. So much questioning of the Matt Boldy selection before the Olympics. Is he really going to be somebody that can make a difference on this team? Is he really the right pick? To quote Nathan MacKinnon, I think you can be the judge. You can be the judge as to Matt Boldy's deserved place on this Team USA roster. And that's just the start of it. Brock Faber. We got the reuniting of the Brock Faber-Jacob Slavin pairing, and that pairing was absolute nails throughout the course of the tournament. And Brock Faber had an opportunity to untie the game. Just happened to hit both posts. But Faber just upping his game and pushing his game to the next level throughout these Olympics for Team USA. It is the exact same thing with Matt Boldy. That was a pick that was heavily criticized as well. I don't know if Faber should... are you sure Faber should be on the team? I think we know the answer to that. And one of the best players on the entire Team USA roster, who happens to also be on the Minnesota Wild roster, Quinn Hughes, who had a 7th assist on the Boldy goal. He scored the game winner earlier in the tournament in overtime to send Team USA to advance them. One of the best players on the ice for the entirety of the tournament, and all three of them play for the Minnesota Wild. When is the last time we could say that? Hughes equaled the point streak set by Zach Parise back in 2010. That was before Parise was a member of the Minnesota Wild. So, as far as best Minnesota Wild related performances in the Olympics, ding, ding, ding. I think you're looking at 3 of them right here. Just tremendous performances by the Minnesota Wild. We talked about it on Thursday. How awesome is that? How unbelievable is that? Who is it better than the Minnesota Wild right now? 3 of their most important players playing crucial roles in a gold medal winning Olympic campaign for Team USA. But I want to give the most props. Second most props. I want to give the second most props to John Hynes, an assistant for Team USA. And he was mostly in charge of the penalty kill for Team USA. That unit went perfect throughout the Olympics. 18 of 18. That unit had to try to find a way to kill off a 5-on-3 in the gold medal game against Canada. And guess who was one of the most crucial defensemen on that 5-on-3? Brock Faber. One of the, and again, are you sure John Hynes should be on the Olympic team? We gotta, and I look, I know it wasn't here. Like it wasn't within, it was more national questioning, but I am hoping that a lot of that will start to tamper down now that we have seen the impact that was had by each part of the contingent. The Wild Wagon, I think, is probably the best way to put it. And then Bill Guerin. And look, I know I was one of the people that was wondering, are you sure there wasn't room for Cale Makar or Jason Robertson to just add a little bit of a scoring push? I'm finding it impossible because of the results. I'm finding it impossible to question anything that Bill Guerin does at this point. Everything that Bill Guerin has touched, pun fully intended here, everything that Bill Guerin has touched this year has turned to gold. Everything that Bill Guerin has touched has turned to gold. And, I remember there was an article that was written by the Hockey News saying that Bill Guerin could be a GM on the brink of doing the impossible by winning a gold medal and then the Stanley Cup. And I said, let's tackle that one piece at a time. As much as I'd love to see that happen, let's tackle that one piece at a time. Well, piece number 1 is done. Piece number 1 is handled. So now as we kind of shift our focus back to the resumption of the NHL season, that is what is in the sights right now. That is what comes next. And imagine being Billy right now and being able to put that, because if it were me, I would absolutely insist that people refer to me as a gold medal winner. It doesn't happen every day. And for it to happen for both the men and the women, that is one of the most incredible things that we will see in quite some time. For both teams to beat Canada, for Canada to come up at the altar short twice, that's a tough pill to swallow. But as much as the Jets are a key rival for the Minnesota Wild, Connor Hellebuyck was the standout performance of the day. So many big saves, so many moments that he was able to keep Canada off the board, so many breakaways that he was able to thwart. So many times the Team USA needed a key save, and Hellebuyck said, I got it. I'll take care of it. No problem. And not only that, the players that Bill Guerin is looking at acquiring at the deadline, they played pretty darn good too. Whether it be Vincent Trocheck and all the intangibles that he brings to the table, pretty clear in watching him play this Olympics to see why he would be a good fit for this Minnesota Wild team. Because I think he would just enrich what they already have. And then Jack Hughes. I mean, I've said for a while, I think it's probably too expensive, but at this point, I really don't care. Go do it. Go get it done. It's starting to feel like it's just one of those once in a long while types of seasons. But we still got a long way to go. When we come back, I'm going to kind of turn focus to what comes next, but also keeping the celebration going. So we don't want to cut the celebration short because they're going to be celebrating until the NHL season resumes, as they should. But we are going to kind of shift focus back towards what comes next, the resumption of play for the entire NHL, and especially for the Minnesota Wild, because they got a pretty key game right out of the break that is coming up. And so we'll talk about all that, but pretty fitting tribute that was also given in the celebration today. All that coming up and more right here on Locked On Gold Medal Win right after this. Today's episode of Locked On Wild is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena. The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, well, that part has not always been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast. Without the hassle, it puts the advantage back where it belongs with you, the fans. Game Time offers some incredible ways to save, but zone deals are my favorite. All you do is pick the section you want to sit in. Game Time will choose the seats, and you save even more. And you will never be blinded by fees ever again. All in pricing up front for Game Time, so you know exactly what you're going to pay before you buy the tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today, and remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. Final segment of today's episode of Locked On Wild. We are gold medal victorious as the Minnesota Wild have a huge hands in Team USA securing the gold. But I think there is another player that needs to be given some love for providing inspiration and providing a rally point for this Team USA team. And that is Johnny Gaudreau. Now, if you see these celebration pictures with Team USA and their gold medals, there's a jersey in front that is being held by Matthew Tkachuk in particular. And that jersey is, of course, Johnny Gaudreau's. I'm going to struggle to find words to describe this, but obviously a player that is missed by many on this Team USA roster, a beloved player throughout the NHL world, and a player that I think would probably have played a pretty sizable impact had he still been here on this Team USA team. But Team USA has adopted this as kind of a point of inspiration, is we're playing for him, we're winning for him, and rightfully so. Team USA did this during the Four Nations last year. And again, the tributes coming here today as well. It's just it's an easy rally point to get behind and to root for, and it just makes me happy to see that he's still at the forefront and is still in the minds of all these guys who know how much he would have been up for these types of moments, these types of performances. So I'm glad to see that Gaudreau is still a huge part of this team, a huge part of the NHL, and that his legacy lives on even with him not here. So it is one of the, and I've seen more angles of the picture. It's one that it'll live on forever. And it's just why the game is a bigger part of why it's bigger than the game. So now that the gold medal has been secured and the party lives on, the party will go on forever. Vincent Trocheck, Jack Hughes. As far as decisions go, I mean, Bill Guerin has a couple of pretty good ones that he could look to make for a big splash post deadline. And I find it funny. I find it funny in an ironic way that in that picture of Gaudreau's jersey in front of Team USA, who is pictured directly next to Matt Boldy? Vincent Trocheck. We had those moments throughout the photo day for Team USA where Trocheck was just skating over to the Minnesota Wild team photo like it was meant to be. I don't know. I'm just saying he'd be a great pick, and if they go the Jack Hughes route as well, hard to argue that pick. The gold medal goal. It is going to be fascinating to see how Bill Guerin takes this and seizes the momentum, because you may not think of it. Because it's the Olympics. You've got the NHL season; they're kind of separate, but there will be some momentum pulled from this, especially for the Minnesota Wild contingent, because of their performances in this Olympics. And Bill Guerin now getting a little confidence in putting this roster together that he can now operate with down the stretch to try to better this Minnesota Wild team from contender to favorite. Think about this too. So they're a contender right now. If you make a big enough splash, do they become an equal favorite with Colorado? I guess it depends on the player. It depends on how high up the ladder that would take them, but you're going from one of the four, I think 4 or 5 teams that are most expected to go to the Cup to then all of a sudden you're the one that everybody's chasing. And I've seen the Minnesota Wild players have already started to kind of get back together and gear up, and very businesslike. Very businesslike in what I've seen so far. I think they know. I think everybody knows what is at stake here throughout the rest of the season. And we are in store for an absolute frantic push to the finish. It is going to be white knuckle all the way to the end. But would you rather have it any other way? Would you rather have it be anything other than just an exciting push down the stretch where every game matters and every game there's a chance to see the greatness on this team? I know I wouldn't have it any other way. But man, even still sitting here almost an hour after the game is done, it's still just speechless, honestly. Like as much as there is so many different talking points and so many different angles of this game to break down, the fact that Team USA got it done, red, white, and blue forever. Gold medal winners. Team USA got it done. Minnesota Wild helped them do it. So blast Freebird today. Crack a beverage. It's a Sunday. It's before noon. I give you permission. And just buckle up for a frantic push to the finish. And we are going to announce a major push forward here at Locked On Wild tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that, because we are counting down until the end of the regular season, and we are going to have every possible postseason angle covered for you. We got the trade deadline, all of it. So we're putting a new foot forward starting tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. But enjoy the win. Enjoy the gold medal today. Go grill a steak or something. I know the weather is bad again in Minnesota, but go grill a steak. Have a Coors Light. Whatever you deem an appropriate celebration, you have my permission to do so here today, because I'm going to do so as well. Team USA gets it done. Thanks for listening to Locked On Wild right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Alex and I will have a full breakdown of the Olympics for you coming up tomorrow, as well as a look at some of the big questions ahead for the rest of the season. So a double dip for you tomorrow. And, of course, Denny's live show coming up at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. He'll have a great angle on the Olympics, as well as he always does. So make sure to tune in. But make sure to blast Freebird all day, every day, right here on Locked On Wild, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Go USA.